Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of Watching Classic Doctor Who Out of Order vlogs, whatever these are. And as you can tell by the title, this episode is going to be about the Daleks, which is actually the second episode ever released, and I'm not doing too good with this whole out of order thing, am I? Anyways, so the Daleks, so basically at the end of the last episode, An Unearthly Child, the TARDIS and crew arrive on a weird planet, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we can get off." And there's a nice little cliffhanger at the end where the doctor asks Susan, like, "Oh, what's the radiation readings, you know?" And she's like, "Oh, they're fine." And then like you just slowly see the needle like pan towards like the danger zone, and it starts flashing. And I thought that was a really cool cliffhanger. But anyway, Ian, Barbara, Susan, and the doctor go out of the TARDIS. They explore a little bit. They decide, we don't want to be here too much. But the doctor really wants to stay and look around because he's curious. He's always curious. And so he's like, "Oh, I ran out of this, like, stuff, this fluid link or something for the TARDIS. So we have to go down and get something." So basically, long story short, they go down there. It turns out he didn't actually need anything. They get captured by the Daleks in a very cool reveal. I mean, I'm guessing it was kind of cool at the time, but nowadays you can just tell that it was a cameraman going at, Jacqueline Hill with the camera and a plunger. Anyway, it was like, a nice and interesting reveal for that. And they get captured and they get radiation sickness. They eventually get medicine and they get out and they meet up with the Thals, who are like the rival race of the Daleks, who look like pretty much like normal humans. And then they they pretty much persuade the Thals, "Hey, you have to attack the Daleks. You can't just let them, kill people, because they're, xenophobic hate machines." And they do, and they pretty much help the doctor and Crow basically help the Thals rebuild society, and they disconnect they get rid of the Daleks' power and everything for a while. So anyway, about the episode, I think the first 4 episodes are paced really well. They flow really smoothly, and they really keep you engaged. And it's generally a very good episode. I think it's way better than An Unearthly Child. I'm not in the, An Unearthly Child, other than the first episode, is like awful camp. Because it's not. I mean, it's the first episode. What you didn't expect it to be perfect. But it's better than it definitely. You can definitely tell they were starting to find their footing a little bit more. And this was one of the, originally it was supposed to be an educational kids show. And they were going to go back and forth between historical episodes and science fiction episodes that teach kids about history and science. That's why Ian and Barbara are a history teacher and a science teacher. And after a while, they started abandoning that concept somewhere around the end of the first Doctor, beginning of the second Doctor, or before that. Because I think the last pure historical was it the Highlanders? I think. I don't they might have done them later on. I don't think they did another one until, I think there was one with the 5th Doctor. I'm not sure. But I think that they really stopped doing it after that a while, which I think we can all agree is for the better, because I think they realized, hey, this concept is way too good to just have as a children's show. I mean, nothing against, there are plenty of good children's shows, but I think they knew that there were more mature stories they could tell. But anyway, back to the Daleks. This is where you really get to see a sign of what Doctor Who would be eventually, like, as a, as, like, the monumental, like, landmark series it is today. I mean, it's going to be 54 years old in November. I mean, no one thought it was going to be that. It was just, like, some filler that they put together in between, in an empty time slot back in 1963, and here we are today. But anyway, the first 4 episodes are paced pretty well. Things do start to drag around the 5th episode a little bit, and that's kind of a problem I think that a lot of these older episodes did have. I think they spend way too long, like the Thals have become very pacifist and peaceful. I mean, and so Ian and Barbara and Susan and the Doctor are like, you guys have to fight, and they're first of all, there's a split between the TARDIS crew whether or not they want to force them to fight or not, and then there's drama with the Thals and them trying to get them to fight, and that takes up pretty much the entire episode, and it's just kind of pointless filler in a way. Like, this, it could have been resolved a little quicker, but I understand they were trying to drag it out. Episode 6, there's some spelunking, and the Doctor and Susan get captured. And then episode 7 is good. It's nice, good climax. It's got a very tense climax, and yeah, it's very good. I'd like to make one more comment about the black and white era Doctor Who, and that some people, a couple of YouTubers who I watch who talk about some of them that I watch about Doctor Who, talk a little bit about Doctor Who. They've noticed that there's something very different about, like, kind of like they said, like, it's an almost magical quality about the black and white era, and I kind of see that, but like I like to bring attention to the fact that there does seem to be something very different about the black and white era, and I think I figured it out, and I think it's because you have these low quality sets and this questionable camera work and picture quality juxtaposed with some very good acting. Like, the acting is, like, I mean, I haven't said this, but, like, the acting has been, like, consistently good throughout this whole thing. Like, they are, I mean, it's sometimes it's a little over the top, but I think I'd rather it be a little bit more over the top than, like, underwhelming and, like, with less emotion in it. But, like, but, like, you have, like, the poor production values juxtaposed with very good acting and, like, good writing. So it gives us this, it really feels like you're watching something very from another world almost. It gives us a very otherworldly feel, and I really like that. And that is something that they kind of lost as the color era went on, but I don't think it would have lasted forever. And I'm glad that they did eventually improve. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on the Daleks, and I hope you'll